Today, my part 2 tutorial with CASHNASTY on helping him in the 2K Wars. If you haven't seen part 1 with LNU, you can click the link above. But yes, Cash came to me before game 2 versus LNU, and I was able to show him both some defensive schemes and offensive schemes. And for today's tutorial, I'm gonna go into detail on how I taught Cash to use defensive settings to make his defense a lot better. So now let's take a look at his defensive gameplay before he met me, or before I showed him the settings. So take a look. I'm the team in blue and Cash is in the white, and he's got his usual settings or no settings on right now. I'm running my pace motion offense, and you can see I am slicing him up inside. And here's another example, because he's got no settings on and I'm running that pace and space offense. I'm cutting him up on the outside also, so I'm getting dunks and corner threes, the best shots in basketball. So you need those settings. So when he came to me, I decided to show him all of my defensive settings that I like to use to defend teams. And he was about to face LNU in game 2. So I showed him my settings where there's going to be, because LNU's got a lot of shooters, so I showed him the settings where I'm going to deny the free shooters and bring one help defender in from the wing or from the paint. So let's take a look at those defensive settings in detail. So Cash is in the blue this time, I'm in the white, I'm on offense. Now, let's pause it there, and that's Bradley Beal. So the settings I've told Cash for Bradley Beal here is that because Russell Westbrook is running the pick and roll, Beal is going to go under the screen. So you can see it in slow-mo here as the pick happens. Because Beal goes under the screen, Russell Westbrook is not much of a threat to pull up, so Cash was able to shut down the Russell Westbrook drive right here, so that's nice. Now let's take a look at another detail. This time we're going to focus on Kawhi Leonard. On the settings for Kawhi, I have told Cash to set it on soft hedge on Westbrook. So this is pretty much just to contain the initial attack by Russ. And because it's soft hedge, Cash can recover with Kawhi easily to stop the roll man, as you can see there. So that's great soft hedge defense by Kawhi. Now let's focus on the corner there. For me, that's Klay Thompson. And because it's Klay Thompson, the settings you have to set it to deny on off ball. So you can see it here as focus on Klay Thompson. As Russell penetrates, you can see Klay is still being denied, so there's no easy shot on the weak side corner. So that's smart defense. Now let's take a look at Dirk this time. He's guarding PG-13, Paul George, and because Paul George is not a super deadly shooter, so for the off-ball setting, we're going to set it to tight, so it's not going to be denied like Klay Thompson over there in the corner. So Dirk is going to stay close to Paul George, but without making any physical contact, which is a good idea because Paul George is faster than Dirk, so you want tight here. So as you can see, as Russell penetrates, Dirk gets closer to Paul George, but not too close. So as Paul George actually decides to cut, since Dirk is not on deny, he's not giving up that space. The tight setting is perfect, so Dirk can follow Paul George even if he's faster. So that's great defense. Now, last part, that's Dwayne Wade over there, and he's guarding Jimmy Butler, who is the worst shooter on the court right now, right, in terms of three-point shooters on the wing. So here I have told Cash to go auto off ball on Jimmy. So what happens is that because he's on auto off ball, as Russell Westbrook penetrates into the paint, because the POEs right now here on defense are protect the paint and neutral aggression, so make sure you use those. And because of those POEs, as Russell penetrates with Gobert, Dwayne Wade is actually going to bring a lot of help. So focus on what you can see he's coming all the way down from Gobert, so this absolutely shuts off the roll and the penetration. But obviously, this gives up the corner free to Jimmy Butler, which is what we wanted to do. Now, Jimmy hits it here. So that's bad in terms of result, but the defense held on true. It was nice, and Cash could have, manually closed out a lot better. So if he was able to do that, Jimmy probably wouldn't have hit that shot. So with that said, this means to run these defensive settings perfectly with the POEs of protected paint and neutral aggression, you have to play very smart with the non-shooter's defender. So in this case, Jimmy Butler's defender. So let's take a look at some clips where Cash got it down. So he's running that, he's going under, he's going soft hedge, that shuts down the pick and roll. Right, here comes the pick and roll again, he shuts it down again with the under. So he brings Kawhi over, but this time he recovers intelligently. He was able to recover to Jimmy. He goes back on ball to defend the paint, and then he goes back off ball very smart off-ball defense by Cash using Kawana with my settings, lockdown defense. Here it is again. I'm bringing up the ball and I begin running a very spaced out pick and roll, which is very hard to defend. Cash on ball, he goes under. Great on ball under by Cash. He switches to Kawhi, cuts off the lane, and shuts down Jimmy Butler again. Alright, here's one more clip. Same thing. Cash sees the pick and roll coming. He switches to Jimmy Butler's defender, shuts down the paint, recovers back to Jimmy, shuts it down. There's nothing for me here. I try to run a flush, nothing. Cash brings it back again, guards on ball, and Jimmy recovers again back to the shooter. The settings I show Cash is actually really good. So if you can play this off ball during the pick and roll, it's very deadly. Here's the last clip of the day. The pick and roll is happening. Cash is going to bring the guy down to the paint. He's going to rotate back to the corner. He anticipates the pass. He denies the passing lane with the steal. That was beautiful. He sees Jimmy cuts in, sacks down with the center, recovers back with the defender. There's nothing here at the end. He's going to go back on ball to shut down the ISO post. Great defense by CASHNASTY. So as always, thanks for coming by. If you're from NU Nation, I got your boy playing unstoppable basketball. And if you're from the Nasty crew, yes, Cash is he's making his way back. He's playing a lot better now. Very solid defense and way less cheese. So that's great for the game. I'm really glad they both came to me for some help. So yeah, have a good weekend and check out my all tutorial playlist if you want to learn the moves I teach Cash and LNU. And I will see all of you next time.